In episode 1, an old man, a lighthouse keeper, is drinking his tea when a flock of seagulls smash against the windows of the lighthouse. We all know that animals acting in strange ways means that something bad is about to happen. A desperate father, meanwhile, Mario, is looking for his daughter Sandra, who's missing. And he's frustrated with the lack of progress on the case. She went missing 3 months ago with 2 of her friends, and they were last seen at the Paraíso nightclub. He's still looking for her, convinced that she didn't run away. He meets with a man who calls himself Charlie, whose son went missing 3 years ago. We aren't sure if Charlie is a conspiracy nut or just a grieving dad, or if he's really onto something, maybe all three. He says that he has evidence against the police and there is some kind of conspiracy involving them and the missing kids. Javi, Sandra's brother, is convinced that she didn't run away, even though there is a new report that the girls were spotted on a train to Ireland. He's emotional and he says that would mean that she chose to leave him and their dad. To him, it would mean she didn't love them anymore. He also finds a concert ticket to one of her favorite bands in her room. No way would she have run off when she had plans to see her favorite band in 2 weeks. The group of friends also find one of Sandra's badges on the cliffs and they go to the police with it, but the police are mostly annoyed because they're meddling kids, according to them. Mario, by the way, obviously, is Javi's father. Javi and his friends decide to go and explore the synth-abandoned club Paraíso, and it looks like someone is lurking in the shadows watching them. The school bully Zeta finds them there and beats them up, but shortly after, they all find a hidden compartment of the club that leads down to some caves, and they see some blood on a rock, so some shenanigans are definitely afoot. Meanwhile, as they're down there, somebody tries to burn down the club. The next day, the rest of the town and the fire department arrives and the kids are standing outside of the building, but as Javi tries to reach out to his father walks right through him as though he's a ghost. And yeah, it appears he's dead. At the end of the episode, the new detective on the case, Zhu, goes to Charlie's home and Charlie shoots him, saying that he knew the police had something to hide. We see, though, that the Inspector Zhu is not dead. In episode 2, we see a memory of the boys trying to get into Paraíso when it was still open for business. Not sure if this is the night that Sandra went missing, but Javi and his friends did bump into his sister. There is also a hooded figure watching them from the distance in this memory, and we see the blinking light that Bea told Javi that she saw. It's someone with a torch. So while Javi and Kino are dead and are able to move around town, Alvaro is still in a coma due to smoke inhalation. While they're having an argument with Zeta, who is also dead, an old lady senses their presence and she makes a call. It looks like she might be reporting them. Javi goes to see his father Mario, who's really struggling. Not only has he lost both of his kids, his last words to Javi were, "Get out of here." They'd fought. Bea goes over to Javi's dad and tells him that maybe Javi was right since Sandra didn't run away. She tells him about the badge that they'd found and she suspects they found something in the club that night that they died. At the hospital, it also looks like one of the nurses is trying to kill Alvaro. When Javi goes after her, she tries to attack him, but it seems as though he has some kind of power and is able to burn her, surprising her, and she runs off. A bit later, Alvaro wakes up and wants to talk to Paula, who is also working the case, but she doesn't make it on time. Alvaro is already dead. He later joins his friends. In this episode, the new detective Zhu seems to have some powers and he's not happy about the 4 children that died. Also, the old lady who called about the boys gives a photo of them to 2 strange-looking men, and I can't tell if they're human or not at this point. In episode 3, we're back in 1922, where we meet a girl named Marta who has dwarfism. She befriends a girl in her class named Aurelia, while the other kids make fun of her. The investigation into the disappearance of the 3 girls, meanwhile, has officially taken a turn. They no longer think the girls ran away because of the recent discovery of the tunnels and the blood there. The boys meet with the Mortis, the lady who seemed to have sensed them before, and they ask her for help. She tells them they need to find a door and get out of there before the revenants kill them. Revenants are shadow-born beings capable of being in 2 worlds. They're very powerful and evil, and she tells them about the abyss where the revenants send ghosts. A place that's even worse than death. It's a scary nothing place where they can't escape, and she offers to help them. Mario goes to the police officer and says that everything he saw at Charlie/Gil Perez's house has suddenly disappeared. There's no trace of him either. Bea, meanwhile, is at the mortuary and the mortician tells her that her and Javi's mothers died on the same day in a tragic accident. She goes to the library and looks for more information about it, and she senses Javi there, even though she doesn't know it's him. We see the women, Aurelia and Marta, when they were young adults. They'd fallen in love but couldn't be together, not in their town anyway. Then we see Marta, in the present day, come to Aurelia's house, push her down the stairs, and she rips her heart out. By the way, Aurelia knew that they'd send Marta, she says. Somehow she seems to know what came of Marta, but Aurelia has some kind of power anyway, so she must have sensed it. The revenant, who Javi touched, is completely deteriorating at this point, and she tells Zu that it's him, referring to Javi. It only took a touch from him for that to happen to her, which seems out of the ordinary. By the way, Paulina is doing some detective work at the docks. She's sure that the person who took Sandra and the girls knew them and worked at the docks. In episode 4, Olivia, Aurelia's granddaughter, is hearing voices in her home and doors are closing themselves. She goes through her grand's things and retrieves the book. It's basically a scrapbook of occult-type dark drawings and doodles. She reads it with Bea, and it's also kind of her grand's diary saying that Olivia has the same curse, and she'd written about the chosen one, the one who can defeat the darkness. In this episode, we also find out that Detective Zu is a revenant. We can see what came of Marta. She's a nurse, the head nurse it looks like, of a facility where the missing girls are kept. Their heads are shaved and they're made to eat bugs. It reminds me a little bit of Eleven and Stranger Things. At one point, one of them falls ill and has to go to the infirmary, but this is all part of their plot to escape. It looks like the siblings, Sandra and Javi, are reunited, but then we see it's actually Zu in some kind of skin suit disguise, and he tries to rip out Javi's heart. In episode 5, the two girls get caught, and one of the girls, Malena, doesn't make it out alive, and a fisherman named Pedro calls Paulina in for the body. Malena is a ghost now, and the boys see her, but at first she's in some kind of psychosis. She believes that she's still in this institution with Sandra and they're being fed bugs. She does say that she warned Sandra about not going out for a cigarette that night, that she knew that a man was looking at them. Meanwhile, we hear Marta screaming behind a closed door of the institute, seemingly being tortured. After his battle with Javi, the detective also ends up in hospital, badly wounded. The girls, Olivia and Bea, perform a seance, and Bea tells Olivia that she senses Javi around her. Something supernatural does happen, but Olivia isn't really ready to accept it, so the girls have a fight about that. The other two girls, meanwhile, were caught again, obviously, and they've been bound and gagged. Marta is also missing an eye, so I wonder if that's punishment for not being able to stop the girls from trying to escape. The news also announces then that the kidnappers have released a message from Sandra to tell the families not to worry. They're being looked after. Detective Zu tells a woman that the prophecy is true. She doesn't really believe him, but she tells him that they do need to find another girl. Kino and Olivia are now probably able to communicate, so just like her grand, she can see ghosts. Javi also sees Sandra and the other girls being loaded into a car, and Mario makes it into the institution where they're being held. Obviously, he's too late. Malena ends up being taken by one of the revenants. At the end of the episode, Bea ends up stranded and she manages to catch a lift, but it's with the lady who told Zu that they need another girl, so this is a trap. In episode 6, someone has been apprehended for the abduction of the girls, a local named Diego, who also happens to be Zeta's dad. Mario is also asked to come in and see Sandra's body. I think Detective Zu somehow made it look like her. Bea is missing, but we see her at the institute. Marta shaving her hair. Her dad goes to the police station, but obviously Zu brushes it off and says that she'll call. Paulina starts putting the pieces together, and it looks like 3 kids have disappeared every 3 years. She also sees a newspaper clipping from 1908, and in it there's a photo of Zu. She shares the information with Bea's dad and Mario. Then the craziest thing happens. As he's doing his perp walk, Zeta's dad comes out to see his wife, and she sets him on fire right there in front of everyone. Back at the institute, there seems to be some kind of ceremony that's happening. Guests are arriving. Detective Zu, meanwhile, shoots Olivia and leaves her for dead. In episode 7, the final episode, a Marquis walks into the institute and he's obviously being received like royalty. I'm guessing they need some kind of hostage wife for him, and he's some kind of monster who needs to feed it every 3 years. I don't know, I'm getting ahead of myself. Olivia goes over to Paulina, Mario, and Bea's dad, and she leads them to the girls. She isn't dead after all, even though Zoo tried to kill her. They stake out the institute and see that the place is a fortress, so Mario and Paulina decide to go through the tunnels. Javi wakes up and he's suddenly in Olivia's body, or she's in his. As if we don't have enough, I can't cope with body switching. The Marquise tells the girls that they give them the gift of time. Apparently they, these shadowy figures, discovered penicillin and did a bunch of actually good things throughout history. But the human sacrifice seems to be the price. And basically they've somehow discovered how to use these girls to gain some kind of immortality. Mario and Paulina reach the cult ceremony. It's pretty gruesome. The girls are bound and trapped underwater, but they manage to get the girls out. Alvaro and Zeta start fighting, and if they weren't kids, I'd be like, just kiss already. They do end up kissing. It's really sweet, actually. Kino dies a real death while fighting Zoo. Javi electrocutes most of the revenants, and later his father gets to say goodbye to him. The ambulance arrives and the girls are saved. The boys can finally go into the telephone box together over onto the other side. And that is season 1 of Paraíso, or Paradise. It actually started and finished really strong, and I think that there were some really great episodes in between, but I thought that the hour-long episodes were a little bit too long, mostly because they tried to stuff so much story into every episode. Other than that, I actually really enjoyed it. I loved that this was a Spanish show, and the actress who played Bea was really a standout for me. I thought that she was really, really good. Anyway, we've reached the end of this video. If you've seen it, feel free to share your thoughts, and thank you for watching.